Welcome to the Sisters Uncensored podcast, where we get into everything from childhood trauma to millennial adulting and all things in between.
We share crazy stories from the past and present to help us cope with the insanity that is our lives.
By sharing our perspectives, we hope to bring some relatability, laughter, and unsolicited advice that can help you survive the messiness of life along with us.
My name's Jessica Labita. I'm a millennial mom, wife, and marketing professional, and I am absolutely insane.
My name is Ashley Lanive. I am a millennial stay-at-home mom, avid golfer, and too mouthy for my own good.
We are real sisters, and this is Sisters Uncensored. Take this trip with us. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sisters Uncensored. Today, we are going to talk about coworkers. So we've had many jobs in our careers over the course of our lives. Some when we were younger, and some not so long ago, where crazy shit has happened. And I think everyone probably has this experience where you encounter different types of people who you have to work with every freaking day. And some of the stories and things that have happened are absolutely insane.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So,
start with one of yours. What you got?
You want to start with mine?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm not going to tell you where this person worked with me, just for the sake of their own identity, because it's pretty bad.
Okay. It's pretty bad.
But we had this guy that all of my colleagues and I used to call the baby werewolf.
Why?
So he was 5'6" and very he was a young guy that was going prematurely gray.
Okay.
But had a full head of hair and a goatee.
Okay.
So he was darker hair, but starting to turn gray prematurely.
Okay.
But he looked young, in his 20s, I think he was probably.
Okay, just salt and pepper.
So yeah, he gave off super creep vibes. Okay. And he used to have a switchblade comb at his desk. And there would be random times where I'd be at my desk and his desk was behind mine. So I'd be typing and I'd turn around to just kind of look at whoever else was on that side of the room, because we had all open area seating. We're at this company.
Right.
And he would be looking in a mirror, combing his goatee at his desk.
Was it a soothing mechanism
with
to him?
a switchblade comb? I don't know, but it was fucking creepy.
Ew, don't comb your shit at your desk, please.
So creepy. So that's not even close to the worst of it.
Oh God, go on. Tell me more.
So ultimately, this guy was relieved of his duties at work because he had a porn addiction.
Ooh.
And would continuously watch pornography on his work computer.
Shut up.
During the day.
What?
But wait, it was not just regular porn. It was animated porn.
Oh, cartoon porn.
Cartoon porn.
That's fun.
So,
yikes.
So you'd be working and in a meeting or whatever and walk by and all of a sudden there'd be a big cartoon dick up on the screen and you're
gross.
What the fuck is happening right now? One, why are you watching that at work? And two, why are you watching that?
Does that
it's
count?
Weird.
Does that count as porn?
Yeah, it has to. I think it's probably. I'm not someone who's ever watched anime porn.
That's weird.
It is to me. It's fucking weird. Why would you watch cartoons do it when you could watch real people do it? It just doesn't make sense to me. Whatever, but. Yeah, it counts, I think, from a you're going to get fired perspective.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
how would you be watching that in an open forum at your place of business?
I truly believe it was an addiction of some sort, because it was almost a compulsive thing. Could not help it.
Oh, God.
Yes.
That's a real problem. You're not going to work again.
Not
if you continue to do that.
Hopefully he learned his lesson and doesn't do it anymore anywhere else.
Yeah, really. Listen,
so
you gotta go and ruin it for everybody.
Right.
Thanks, Osama.
Yeah, way to go.
Can't even masturbate on a plane anymore.
So one time he comes, so he goes, wait, this is the best part. So I'm so ignorant when it comes to this like anime stuff. Like I don't realize that this is like a Japanese trend thing. Like all anime is like a Japanese thing. Like
I don't know. I just know it's Asian.
Yeah. So I had no like thoughts about this ever because it's so not my thing. So at one point in time, this guy goes on a vacation to Japan, and
The same guy?
the same guy.
Oh my God.
So come to find out, he's there for some sort of a convention. I'm assuming it's an anime porn convention. But we used to do these like presentations about our vacations as like team building things where like if you went somewhere awesome, you would come back and tell the department like about your trip.
Okay.
So this guy came and did a whole presentation on his trip to Japan.
Shut up. And it was for an anime?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
He didn't say that. However, I strongly suspect that that was the reason. And I never put two and two together. So like as he's presenting on Japan, I'm like, what a cool trip. Like I have friends that live in Japan, blah, blah, blah. Like just seems like an awesome place to go and visit. Like how lucky he is. Not connecting the dots between the porn and the country.
He was there to jerk off. To cartoons.
So my boss at the time is
crazy.
like, yo, don't you think it's kind of weird that like he's in Japan? And I'm like, why? Like, she's like, you know, the whole like, and I'm like, no. Like, I remember like when she said something and it like made sense. And I was like, ew, like he was there for that. Ugh. So gross.
That's awesome.
So gross. So he definitely was into like weird role playing or something. So one time he showed up. I'm telling you, this is the greatest like coworker stories ever. Nothing will top this. Like I can't imagine. He comes into work one day and his entire face is burned.
What?
And like peeling, like red. But not like sunburn burned, like chemical peel burned.
Like somebody dropped acid on your face.
Right. So I'm like, what happened? Like everybody's like, yo, you're right. Like,
yeah.
got something going on there. What happened?
Maybe call out.
Right.
Take the day.
Take the day. Wait, so here's the answer. I can't.
I can't wait.
When we were like, what happened? He said, I got into the shower face first. The water was too hot and it burned me.
What?
Now, when have you ever, anyone, please weigh in here. When has anyone ever gotten into a shower and the first thing you put under the water is your face? No. Lie.
Definitely not.
You always
Lie.
touch with your hand and make sure the temperature is
least.
good before you put your body in. And
Absolutely.
if I'm stepping in and not touching with my hand,
I'm going in
certainly
back
not going in face first.
Exactly.
So obviously this was a lie. We had all kinds of theories
I was gonna
about
say, what do you think
how-
actually happened?
I think it was some sort of mask, role play, fire, weird shit.
Oh, okay.
Maybe an S&M thing. I don't know, but he was weird.
He's getting like
sexually.
candle wax poured all over his face.
Maybe. I would love.
What kind of burn are we talking? Second degree, first degree?
So red, peely, blistery.
That's second.
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
but not sunburn because it.
No, that's first. Sunburn is first.
Yeah, it was worse. Definitely.
Anytime it blisters, that's a second degree burn.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but there's no way you're not going to notice that the water is that hot to second degree burn your face into blisters.
Right. I don't even think like
You didn't think it through.
That I don't even think that water heater temperature is supposed to get that hot.
Well, you have a gauge on it.
Right,
You can
but
set
does
the
it?
gauge.
Is
Like,
it
no,
gonna second degree burn you even at its hottest temperature?
Dad makes his like that where it could definitely, it's like boiling.
Dad's is really hot.
Yeah.
Really hot.
His gets really hot.
It does.
You got to watch out with kids.
And listen, I love me a hot shower. Like burn me to the gates of hell. I love it.
Oh my God.
I love a hot shower. But there is no chance ever that
No.
I'm stepping into a shower
No,
without checking
it's
the
not
water.
happening.
Like
It's
it's just
not
human
happening.
instinct.
I wonder.
So I don't know what actually happened, but I would love for our listeners to weigh in on what the theory is here and how you could potentially burn your face that way if you're into anime porn, look like a baby werewolf, travel to Japan for God knows what kind of creepy conventions, brush your mustache with a switchblade knife
At your desk.
at your desk.
Just like, I feel like that's like a very like Sherlock Holmes thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I would picture.
This was the craziest coworker I've ever had.
creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy. I had a really bad boss. Really bad boss. And like, she behaved like an animal. Like things that would happen aside from being passive aggressively just an asshole.
Right.
Like she couldn't get along with anyone. She just kind of got booted around from department to department to department to department over like a 30-year span until they finally let her go. But I think the only reason that she kept her job, like she was definitely the type that got her, sucks in to make sure that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think she like,
Absolutely.
do you know for a fact that she like
Allegedly.
had something on somebody?
Allegedly.
Okay, so nobody really knows for sure.
Everyone knows, but nobody has the proof. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Everybody knew.
interesting.
Yeah. So she was there forever, but whatever. It didn't make sense. But she would walk around barefoot in the office and have her feet on her desk, her bare feet up by like her keyboard on her desk, and just talk on the phone for hours with her friends.
Ew.
I was like, how the fuck do you have a job? You know how there's some people that, and I'm sure everybody can probably relate to this. I hope it's not just me, but there's some people that I've worked with that are really good employees. And then you have some employees that you're just like,
You shouldn't even be here.
who hired you?
Yeah.
I want to know like who hired you. And I want that person to be fired. And I'll tell you why. Because if you hired this person, you don't deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I can't trust your judgment.
Yeah.
Are you insane?
Totally.
Like, absolutely not. This bad boss of mine, oh my God, I remember she had a friend who was having an affair with her other friend. Both of them were married. And they would call into the company line, ask for my boss, and my boss would connect the two on a conference call and hang up the phone and just let them talk for hours, like over.
Like facilitating the affair?
Yes,
So
to
that
make
there
sure
was
it
no
wouldn't show
proof
up on the paper trail.
phone
It's just
records.
like, oh, I called so-and-so.
What a shitty person.
Yeah, she was garbage.
Wow.
She was like abusive garbage. I don't know. Oh my God. Like when it came to HR, I can't even imagine having to be HR and deal with everybody who came to complain about her.
Yeah.
Because she was a really bad person. Oh, we had an employee drop a bag of cocaine on the floor one time.
Oh my gosh.
I'll
Like,
never forget
in the
that.
office?
Yeah.
Like, everyone saw?
And it was like open seating.
Uh-huh.
So, you know,
I
like
mean,
you had
most
like the
offices
cubes,
are.
right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. We had a lot of old timers at this place where I worked, and they would go and get blasted. You know what I mean, on lunch, and come back barely able to stand up.
Oh my
like
God.
hammer face.
Wow.
Why you would even come back? I don't know. I
Right.
have no idea.
Right.
But one of the guys came back one time and he was like falling all over the place, laughing, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing you know, he walks away. And I got up to go to like the copy machine or something. And there's a bag of Coke laying on the ground. And I'm like, and actually, this is a funny story. So our mom and I used to work together, and she saw it and she was like, what is that? And
probably
she
has
doesn't
no
know
idea.
anything about drugs, nothing about drugs. So I'm like, oh, I know what that is. And you had another employee who sees it and she's like, is that cocaine? Like, it was the nicest, sweetest lady ever. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. So somebody picked it up and brought it to HR. It was that bitch boss went to go and bring it to HR. Like, of course you would go and take it to HR. Just go and give it to the guy.
Right,
You know
right.
it's his. Just go and give it to him. Be like, yo,
Dude,
this fell in your
fucking pocket
pocket.
that shit.
Do yourself a favor. All right? Try to keep this in the car next
Right,
time. Something like that.
something.
No, she was just a ratchet bitch. She was the worst. She hated anybody who was going to do better than her. She was a clown.
What a bitch.
Yeah, you know, there's definitely a couple of people though that I do wonder how they ever got hired.
I had a boss. I really have. I've been very fortunate in my career, and I tend to follow strong, hardworking, amazing women. But I had one male boss in the last 20-something years, I would say, who was old as fuck and racist as fuck.
Oh,
Yeah. And I had several like African American, Hispanic, Asian employees under me at one point in time, and like blatantly saw the way this man treated
that's terrible.
people who are not white.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he
that's
was
terrible.
a shitbag.
Ew.
So after that, I like did not want to work for men. I like strategically selected the women that I worked for because
Yeah, that
I didn't
makes
want to work
sense.
for anyone after that guy. He was horrible.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah.
That's really shitty.
Yeah, he was awful.
Ew.
Remember when we used to work with Dad when we were younger? Some of the crazy
Yeah, we had
stuff
some
that
characters
happened?
there.
Oh my God.
We had a receptionist who had the biggest, fakest double D titties I ever saw in my life. And like, if you were visiting the building, you would walk in and it was just boobs in your face. And
Yep.
it was like, hi, I'm here to see anything but your tits. It was like you were like trying to look around.
It was like early 2000s too. She was the juicy couture queen.
Yes.
She had all
She was
the
really nice.
bracelets. Yeah. No, she was really nice, but she was
nice.
like a lot.
She was a lot. There was a whole lot of boobs going on at the front desk.
Yes.
That's
yes.
for sure.
Yeah. She was an attractive woman.
Yeah.
But
we had our IT guy there. Do you remember him?
Yes.
He was creepy. He was a little weird.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes.
He had like a ponytail.
That was the coffee drinker. He only drank coffee.
Oh, I don't know.
He would smoke cigs outside with us. And like, would we have weird
but they were like
conversations
long,
with him?
thin brown cigarettes.
They were cloves.
Cloves. Yes,
Yes,
I knew it. I used to
were.
smoke cloves when I was like in 8th grade with
They
Kira.
smell good, but like, ugh.
Ugh, no way. He was
Yes.
a little creepy.
So
He's a nice guy,
he
whatever.
actually, that company, he was friends with another woman who was in IT that we both worked with.
Okay.
And I was young. Like, I think I was in my early, if I was even 21, I was in my early 20s. And I remember her car was always like first in the parking lot. And she had kids, young kids. And they were like fucking dirty diapers. Like, it was like a minivan, but it looked like a trash bin on wheels. Like, it was so disgusting in the car. And I remember like me and my coworkers, we'd like go outside and like smoke, and her car was always the first one there. So you're like standing right next to it as you're smoking your cigarettes, and you would be like, ew, look at this car, how nasty it is.
Burn it.
It was so disgusting. It was so dirty. So one time, she actually asked me to babysit for her kids.
Oh.
And I did.
You went?
I went.
I can't believe you went.
Yeah.
Well, just judging by somebody's car, I'd call me an asshole for judging, but I don't care.
Well, so red flag, right?
Yeah,
but
I'd be like,
at the time,
I
was
imagine.
young. Like now, if I saw that, I would have been like, I'm not going anywhere near you. But I was young and poor, so you work with me and want to give me more money. Like, yes, I'll take it. I'm poor.
What was their house like?
It wasn't bad. It was clean.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a nicer place, if I recall. It was like an apartment building, but it wasn't like it wasn't the Taj Mahal or anything.
But I don't mean that. I mean like it wasn't.
It was like a decent size,
dumpster.
and it was fairly clean. Like I don't remember anything like crazy about it.
Right.
So
you would remember if it was like the car.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. So I babysat, and I remember her being like, her and her boyfriend or whatever, her husband, the kid's father, she was like, we're going into New York City, we're going to a nightclub. And I'm like, okay. So she's like, we'll be home late. And I'm like, all right, like,
have
cool.
a good time.
Whatever, have at it. So she comes home, and I had been there for so long at this point in time, like it was starting to get ridiculous. Like it was like 4:00 in the morning when she finally got home. And I was like, what the hell? I remember them coming in and her being like annihilated. Oh, and like she hugged me and was like, thanks for watching the kids, blah, blah, blah. And I was like talking about how they were fine. I cannot explain to you the way this woman smelled.
Ew, what does that mean?
It was so vile.
Ew, what does that mean? So like booze?
Combination of booze. So now I know what it was, because there's more to the story, because I babysat a second time and found out where they go when I watched the kids, but not until the second time.
Where do they go? Tell me everything.
So the first time she comes home, she hugs me, thank you for watching them, blah, blah, blah. I leave, it's like 4 a.m. She smells like death, and I cannot figure out why she smells so bad, but I don't think much of it. I'm like, all right, she's at a nightclub drinking, sweating, dancing.
Sweaty people
like,
all over.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Maybe she's just a smelly person, like whatever.
Ew.
I don't know. I watched them again. The second time I watch them, I find out where they're going. So she gives me a little more information. They were going to the Vault in New York City.
The fuck is that?
So the Vault apparently was like an S&M /
Shut up.
underground dungeony
Shut up.
swingers club.
Oh my.
The smell
Ew.
was every kind of sex you could probably possibly
That's what I'm thinking. It's like
imagine. That's what the smell was.
Sweat, fluids, all kinds of fluids.
It was gross.
I hope you washed your hands.
Ew, So then I figured out where they were going, and this was like the highlight of our company at the time, because I was like, yo, I babysat for them, and they're going to this fucking kinky sex club, and they're screwing all these people, and I'm babysitting the kids. Like, it was weird.
Oh my God.
It was so weird.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And you had to go back to the office the next day?
Yes.
I'd be like, oh
and
my God, where's my office
her.
bestie? I got to talk to them about this right now.
They were into all kinds of weird, like, role-playing shit and stuff. Like, they played some video game that, like, I don't even know, where, like, you pretend to be someone or something.
Like an avatar?
I don't know. I'm, like, so not... I can't even tell you because I'm not
creepy,
into
but
that.
I don't know.
But, yeah, they were fucking weird. Weird.
Can we just watch normal porn? I don't understand what the problem is, people. Like, normal porn.
Reminds me of that episode
All
of
right.
The Big Bang Theory where the, like... Howard like meets the troll under the bridge.
What?
And like cheats on Bernadette with the troll, and she's like not a real person, and then they find out the troll's like some dude. Like,
No
that's
way.
the shit these people were into, like pretending to be characters online and like fucking people and then meeting them at these clubs in the city and
Yikes.
doing it for
I wouldn't be able
real.
to look at them straight faced
No.
like in the office the next day. It would freak me out.
It was weird.
Yikes.
It was weird. These are things you do not ever need to know about your coworkers. Like, I do not want to know how or who you're fucking, or that you're into anime porn. Like, keep this shit out of the office. It's creepy.
Yeah, that would be nice. You ever have any coworkers hook up at like a Christmas party?
I am sure in our sales organization, definitely.
So we would have our Christmas party at this restaurant that was also a hotel. Like, well, it wasn't also a hotel. It was a hotel, and they had a nice restaurant that would do like events and things like that. And I remember there were coworkers that would like go get a room, and it was like, guys, look around.
Were they married?
One of them was.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was bad. That wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
That was not a good look. Ugh. Whatever. What are you gonna do?
I got a weird email at one point in time, like early on in my career, about, I got another good story too.
I know which one it is, I think.
So first was the email, but it was like basically like there are certain restaurants that are appropriate for expenses, and there are certain ones that are not. And apparently somebody somewhere in the company was like expensing strip club fees.
Strip clubs. I knew it. I knew it.
And I think it was like someone in our sales organization or whatever at the time, and like
Entertainment.
yeah. So then the whole company got an email about like, you can't expense strip clubs, thanks.
You
Which to me is just like fucking adult logic. Like,
I know, really,
I
right?
mean-
It's not. You'd be surprised.
but now that I say that, it reminded me of another story where, and Dad was actually there for this.
Oh, no, I know. This is a different one, I think.
So we had a conference in New Orleans, and I was like working for this company where basically I was selling stuff to pharma companies, and our boss at the time set up a VIP area in Scores in New Orleans
And you're at the strip club with Dad?
at the strip club with all these. There were two girls, me, one other girl, and we were like 20.
Yep.
And all these men were coming in to talk sales.
Yeah.
And we were trying to sell to them while we're in a strip club. I was in Scores all day long, from morning until night.
With Dad.
So Dad was one of the men that came in to talk to the company and say hi, because he knew all of us, because we all like worked in
Yeah.
the same industry. So he comes in to say hi to me, and I'm like, hey Dad, as I'm like meeting him in the VIP section of Scores, and some chick comes over and gives him a lap dance, and I'm like, this isn't uncomfortable at all. But I think about this shit now, and I'm like, can you imagine if this happened today, like the fucking lawsuits that would happen? I was so uncomfortable the whole time.
I think that happens more often than you would expect.
Oh my God, it was so
That's like
uncomfortable.
not an unusual thing, I would say, in certain industries.
Should not be allowed to make sales calls in a strip joint. Like, no.
No, like let's not. How about let's
It
not?
was-
You know, Dad actually told me a pretty funny story the other day about you guys being at a convention or something like that, or some conference, and you guys went to go and sit at the bar, and somebody was sitting at the bar, and it was like a tranny, and you guys sit down next to them, and it was Dad.
Oh yeah,
and,
this was in Philly. I remember this.
he said something like, you guys sit down, you guys start talking to this person, and clearly they're a
Transgender.
Not. I wouldn't even say transgender. I mean that. But
Was it like a man dressed as a
like,
woman?
isn't it like a transvestite? Doesn't that make sense?
I don't know what the right word is.
All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Forgive me for whoever I'm offending. Anyway, whatever. But my point is they were a tranny, and you guys sat down and were talking to them with other coworkers, and by the end of the night you guys were all like friends and having a great time, and some group of guys came in and started making fun of the person, and the next thing you know, he's like, we were all in the parking lot like, you're not gonna fuck with our friend.
Yeah.
Like going nuts, like throwing down.
Yeah.
It was so funny. You told me that story. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, we were in Philly. I remember that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I actually totally forgot about it until right now.
That's a pretty good story. I was like, I can't imagine that. That's pretty.
Look at that.
You get the whole company that's out there. Like everybody just goes to.
Don't fuck with our friend.
Don't fuck with our new friend.
Yeah. Right. So speaking of like being at things like events with Dad, we used to do happy hour when Dad and I like worked at the same company together, and I was underage at the time. I was not allowed to be drinking.
Right.
And I remember us going out to this one bar.
The one
and
on the corner?
No, it was like a sports bar out on like 46 or something.
Okay.
And I'm like young, and everybody wants to do Irish car bombs. Now, remember, I am not a big drinker. I was not a big drinker. That's why I did drugs. I've said this previously.
Yes, that's true.
I threw up.
Yep.
So they wanted us to do car bombs.
Oh God.
And I was like, all right. Well, we used to have like chugging competitions, who could finish the car bomb the fastest.
Yeah.
And I remember doing enough of them to where like, one, I was full because they're gross and they curdle in your stomach, and two, like I know my limit and I'm going to puke. And I like was like, no more. And they were like, one more. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm going to throw up.
Yep.
And they were like, no, you're fine. Meanwhile, I shouldn't have even been in there because I was not old enough. The only reason I was allowed in there was because Dad was with me.
Okay.
So I shouldn't have even been in here, like drinking at all.
We have the best dad. I'm sorry. I mean, he's so fun.
Obviously. So I go to do this last Irish car bomb, and of course, I'm like, I'm gonna vom. As I finish it, I win the chugging contest, of course.
Obviously, because I'm not a loser.
Right. And I'm like, I'm gonna puke. So I turn to like start walking to the bathroom. And like
projectile vomit into your hands.
My hands in the middle of the fucking bar in front of all my coworkers.
So funny.
And I was like,
I told you
that was gonna happen. Like, I tried to warn you. I thought maybe I could make it to the bathroom to puke. It did not happen.
Didn't even make it that far.
I think that's
Too
when
much
Dad was like,
carbonation.
No more car bombs when we're drinking with coworkers.
Not for you. Not for you. I remember a time where when we were all working together, you came into the office. What is happening? Okay. It's because I'm so sweet. But you went into the office one morning and you're checking your voicemails.
Oh.
And you got a voicemail of some guy jerking off
on my
voicemail.
Yep.
That was like
He
a big
called
deal.
a couple of times.
That's creepy.
Yes.
They ever find out who it was?
No, but it was, I want to say there was like some connection to Howard Stern.
What?
And I can't remember, this was so long ago, God, but I can't remember, but I want to say that whoever the guy was that was leaving me the voicemails on my work phone was also leaving creepy messages on Howard Stern's something. And when I heard it on the radio, I was like, holy shit.
Like, I know that voice.
That's the same fucking creep
I know
that's
that
leaving
breathing.
me messages.
Like that pattern is
on
familiar.
my voicemail. Yeah. That was like
God.
a whole HR thing.
Yeah, that was
like,
a big deal. I remember when that happened.
Oh, it was so creep.
That was really creepy.
They didn't know who it was, but yeah, he was like masturbating on my voicemail.
That was nasty.
I forgot about that.
I remember that. I'll never forget that. I didn't know that that was like a thing that would actually happen in the workspace.
So creep.
Do you remember the
that company was a disaster.
Do you remember the anthrax scare?
Yes.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
So when we worked together, one of the things, Jessica worked in like client relations. I worked in inventory control and like returns and stuff like that. We would ship out these different like vitamin type of products, right, to whoever would order them from God knows where. I don't even know. Whatever. That wasn't my job. Anyway, but if they didn't like them and they wanted their money back, you had to send back the bottle.
Yeah.
So I'm opening up the bottles, and this was around like 2011 or 2001.
2001. Yeah, September 11th.
September 11th.
Right
that's what I'm
after
thinking.
9/11. Yeah.
Yeah, it was after 9/11, and like anthrax was like a big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
was worried about white powder showing up in envelopes and packages and shit like that.
Yep.
So I open up this box, and it's covered in white powder. And I'm like, what the hell? I have it all on my hands. And you had to report it.
Right.
So I go and I'm like walking around. I'm like, I just opened this box and there's all white powder. And the guy's like, you have to get back in that room. They quarantined me all day long. Yep. Dad heard that I was in the room being quarantined for a potential anthrax scare. So he came in like, if she's going to die, I'm going with. She's my favorite and we're best friends. We ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life. I remember they sent in like, they told me to pull out a roll of like packing tape and like get it all on my hands, put it in an envelope, slide it under the door. Like we had to do all this stuff and like
the guys were like in hazmat suits and stuff, right?
So wait, I'm quarantined all day long. Turns out what it was the guy who had ordered or sent this package back had ordered it was a male enhancement vitamin.
Okay.
And he didn't want his wife to know that he ordered it.
Oh my God.
So he hid it in the box in like his workshop where he did all kinds of like plastering and sanding and everything. So all of this white powder is literally like sand from plaster and everything like that.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing bad. Yeah.
Right.
God almighty, sir, just tell your wife.
Right.
Listen, let me tell you something. She already knows you're having problems.
Right.
All right?
Literally.
I can tell you, as a woman, we know if you're struggling in some way, okay? And we can work together on this, all right? Anyway, long story short, I finally get a call from whoever was in charge, and they're like, listen, we heard back. The testing was done. Everything is fine. We got in touch with the person who sent the stuff back. Everything's fine. You have nothing to worry about. But the hazmat company is going to come in from the post office to take the box and quarantine it and just to be safe. So they're like, you have nothing to worry about though. Whatever, great. I'm like, okay, great. Well, sure enough, I have nothing to worry about. And in comes this person to collect this box. And when I say they are in a full hazmat suit, full hazmat, like looks like you belong on fucking Mars or something.
Yep.
And I remember them coming to me like, there's nothing to worry about. Like E.T. Everything's okay. And I'm like, if there's nothing to worry about, why are you dressed like that? I'm like in here breathing this in. If there's nothing to worry about, take your helmet off now. All right? Prove it.
Oh my God.
It was terrible. I mean, it turned out to be
funny.
nothing, but it was a full day of being quarantined from an anthrax
They
scare.
gave you pizza. I remember they fed you.
Yeah, they're like, we feel really bad, so we ordered you pizza. I'm like, that's what my life is worth.
The president of the
$12
company,
pie?
after that happened, it was probably like within a couple of weeks after 9/11, because that Halloween, the like head guy at the company, I remember him dressing up as an envelope with like an anthrax stamp across the front, and he had baby powder, and he was walking around the building, blowing baby powder at people. This was his Halloween costume. And I think about this now and I'm like, can you imagine?
No, you couldn't
how
do that.
Totally inappropriate.
Well, I mean, on top of that too, of having an anthrax scare in
Literally,
your
like,
building
a few weeks before.
Like, what are you doing? Oh my God, I can't
Yes.
imagine. I probably wasn't there if it was Halloween, because knowing me, I probably called out sick. I'm sick. You know what I mean?
Pink eye.
Yeah. That was my go-to
I know.
call out. What was your go-to call out excuse? Mine was always pink eye.
I don't know if I had one.
I use that excuse so much, somebody should have been like, I think like you're doing something wrong, that you are
really
constantly
call out a
contracting
lot.
pink eye. And I'm like, I'm just lying. I just want to be hungover with my friends. Or
I would go to work like, whew,
oh my God,
a train wreck.
I know. I'm telling you, I remember doing that in my 20s and being like, how?
I know.
How?
No.
Oh my God.
I don't know how.
Now I need like 3 days to recover after a bottle of wine.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, anyway, I think at least I will continue to have probably some fun coworker stories as we think about them, because I am still working in corporate America. Although I must say my company is amazing and none of this shit happens there. Like they're very like,
that's good.
you know,
Yeah.
by the book. I haven't had any really crazy things go on, but previously,
Yeah,
to
different
this
companies.
career,
Yep.
it was weird.
I can imagine.
Weird. And your company that you left recently, I think is still an HR disaster.
It always was. It
Yeah.
always will be. I don't know how they stay in business.
I don't know.
I really don't. You know, they actually, I know they had some lawsuits. I remember there was a girl who was working there who was my age, and she was working for the owner's son. And he was drunk one day from lunch or cocktail hour or whatever, came
Oh my
back to the
God.
office. and he degraded her so badly, like saying things like, "What are you making, like 30 grand a year? Like, what do we even pay you?" Like,
Wow.
and she did everything for this mess of a human being
Oh my
who
God.
just rode coattails for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was outrageous. And she ended up coming back and suing them.
This is why I will never work
And won.
for a private company ever again. I will only work for a publicly traded company or myself.
I know someone who owns their own business and they are their HR department, or at least they
Yeah, that's
were.
the worst thing ever.
And I was
that's
like,
half the companies that these
I'm
stories happen
sorry,
at.
what? I'm sorry, wait, what?
There is no HR.
You have to outsource that because that's no good.
Yeah,
But
conflict of interest.
HR is a fucking joke in a lot of places. I don't know. There was so much red tape bullshit. I would literally rather die than ever go back to working in corporate America after my experience in my career.
Yeah, I don't blame
I'd
you.
rather die.
I'm very fortunate.
I would do porn before I would do that. I'm not even kidding. Again, anybody wants to buy my feet pics, just hit us up in the DMs. Thank you so much. Anyway,
She has cute feet.
I do. They're cute. They're adorable. Anyway,
All right. Well, on that note,
that'll do
Nash's
that.
just blossoming porn career.
Get the hell out of here. Gross. I would never. Sorry. I don't like fluids on my face. Just kidding. We'll stick with the feet pics. Anyway,
Yes.
so let's keep it moving.
It's been a good episode.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.